welcome once again to Yorkshire Gamer, and I'm going to do something I haven't done for a while, a from box to table video. So I'm going to take this box, bag, from here to ready for a game. And this is a 28mm Roman Townhouse from Empires at War, a fantastic company. I've done some reviews on some of their stuff before. But really like these. They come pre-painted, but we'll go through all that in a minute. And this is going to form a building called the Convent from Mentana. I needed something with an open courtyard, and I'm really not competent enough to scratch build something. So I've got some pictures of what the building looks like today, and this is a very rough sketch of what it would have looked like in 1867. So we'll unpack what we've got in the bag and have a look at that. Okay, so I like to work in a really useful box just so I don't lose anything, keep everything in there. Also stops me getting glue on my war games table. And then with each of the Empires at War kits, you get one of these, which is like a pictorial description of how to put it together. Sometimes these can be a little bit hit and miss. You can miss a stage and you kind of have to work it out yourself, but generally they are very good. And so we'll be working our way through that. Then we've got all the pieces themselves, and this is one of the pre-painted kits. So that's your bare MDF on that side, and that's the painted stuff on this side, and you can judge for yourselves what you think of them when it's put together. I really like them. I think they're absolutely fantastic, especially for somebody like me who doesn't particularly enjoy doing terrain. Then they are an excellent compromise. So we've got all the various bits here that we are going to build, the side walls, etc. These are, I imagine they're going to be roof supports. And then the kits come, as I say, with different painted stuff. So this is MDF again, but that's painted dark wood for, I imagine that's going to be doors and window shutters. Then we've got a tiled floor, and then lots of interior detail in there, and particularly like these pan tile roof sections that come already pre-cut. So it's just a case of putting it together. And then we've got some small sections of exposed brickwork that we're going to put in to the building itself. Now, kit-wise, tool-wise, what am I going to use? I prefer using wood adhesive for MDF kits. So that's what I'm going to use glue-wise. Occasionally, a bit of super glue if I need it. And the only implement I'm going to use, apart from a Stanley knife if I need it, is the neck end of an old paintbrush just to apply my glue, but you can use whatever you want to do. So we'll do this in the stages in the instructions. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to glue the base halves together. So I better find them and I'll come back to you. So there we go. There's the first stage done. This doesn't actually come into use until the end of, or towards the end of the build. So I'm going to put this to one side and put it under some heavy weights and try and get it as flat as I possibly can. And then just so you know, dimensions wise, it is 10 inches by, not quite square, 10 inches by about 9.5 inches, which is 26 centimetres and 24 centimetres in French money for you. So that's the first section done, nice and easy, and we'll move on to doing the walls. So while the base is drying and under some heavy weights to flatten itself, we're on to the second stage, and I've got the broken wall sections, the doors and shutters, and then also all the wall sections. And basically what I'm going to do, I'll use this as an example, is I'm going to fit the exposed wall sections and fit the shutters. So first thing I need to do is obviously find the right piece, push that out, and then nice big dollop of PVA under there. Sorry, not PVA, wood glue. And these are absolutely superb. They always just fit bang on. And I set my sort of broken wall back touch from the actual outer limit of the wall, which kind of representing the broken away plaster. So that's that first little bit. And then with the windows, we've got, if you look on that one, we've got two different sizes, a small and a large, and we can see there we've got the different size shutters. Again, we've got small and large. So just punch out a couple of these, and I'm just going to put bit of glue on one side, bit of glue on the other side. I'm not too bothered about going over because I'm going to use a little bit of weathering, etc. later on, and then just sit these down on top of the glue, and then I'm holding my breath to try and get them level. So there we go. That's stuck on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the rest of these and then come back to you. I prefer using wood glue because it's a lot more flexible. It allowed you to slide stuff into place, as we saw there, and then it easily wipes away once you've finished with it, if you need to remove any excess. So I shall be back in a few minutes with all these finished. There we go. Didn't take me particularly too long. There's the one we did earlier on, and then these have just been done very recently, as you can see. I've got another little bit of exposed brickwork there, and then the windows. I've just realised after I did the first one that there should only be one shutter. I'm getting all later Italian on you and having two shutters. So I've done some open and some closed just for a bit of variety, and we can see here all the various parts of the building. So that's the second section finished, and then the next bit is to glue the front and sides of the wall together. So I'll get some stuff ready and we'll do that. So these are the pieces that I need for stage 3. We've got the two ends here and the rear of the building. So effectively we're going to join that onto there, obviously at a 90-degree angle, and the same over there. So what I do with this, if you can see, is I just fill in the gaps between the teeth with a little bit of wood glue, or quite a lot of wood glue. Remember, you can always wipe this off, and then that should give me a perfect glue. If I go and put a dab on the inside of each one of these, then that will give me glue on every side of the contact. Then these I should have tried it dry first, but let's just slip it in. There we go. Perfect. So I'll just put that to one side for a second. Do exactly the same with this, and I'll be back in a sec. So there we go, we've glued these in, but as you can see, it's got absolutely zero structural integrity at the moment, which is fine because a bit of flexibility is good when you fit in central walls in, etc. And then the next bit that we need to do is to fit this part into here. So nice big dollop of wood glue down the edge, and then inside the teeth of those, and also on the back of the lugs here to make sure that we've got glue on each of the connections, and then down the other side as well. Trying to keep it in focus and glue the right bit. Never easy. So there we go. That's that glued on, and then hopefully we should be able to just slot this into place. Oops. Like so. So this is now starting to get a bit more structural integrity, and once you get the parts together, it will start to hold together better. Ideally, you would want to wait until these have dried, because I don't know if you noticed there, I accidentally knocked one off as I was pushing these together. But you know, I'm trying to do this as a quick video. So we're doing quite well now, and the next bit is going to be gluing inner walls and front walls. So I'll come back to you in a second with that. Progressing along nicely. So the next parts we're going to need are these that you will remember from earlier on when we put the shutters on, and we're also going to need the front. So these two bits here will slot in there and there, and then obviously the slide that back, the front will go in there. So I shall glue those together and be back shortly. So starting to look the business now. We've got this front wall on and these side butts here. There's still a little bit of flexibility in it, but as the glue starts to harden and go off, then it sits in place. I like to work when there's a little bit of malleability in it, so that I can make sure that everything fits and slots together. And the next piece that we are going to add is this bit here, which fits over the center of the courtyard, and kind of adds an extra level of strength, and also make sure that these are correctly spaced. So I shall glue that into place for you. So here we have that section moved in. I've used a little bit of super glue in places there just to push it together. There's a little bit of pressure on this wall here. So next job is simply to glue it on the base. 2-second job. Starting to look like a proper Roman villa now. And the next bit that I need to do is to just glue on. Again, I'm sure some people will be going, oh my god, you're using too much glue. Get it slapped on, lad. Get it slapped on. It's glue. Makes things stick. A little bit of a wall top in there. Bring that close to the camera. So that fits quite nicely on that front edge there. So the great thing about these Empires at War models, the pre-painted ones, are that you can do as little or as much to them as you want. You'll see when we get to the finished product how good these look. When you actually finish them and you see, do I want to do anything more to it? Do I want to do a bit of weathering? Let's see. We've got that top on, and it's next up is to glue the floor supports. So that's these, and all I'm going to do is punch these out very slowly, and they're just MDF blocks, and these sit in here. So let's just move the model around. So they're going to sit in the corners and on the edges there, and that merely acts as a support for the floor that we're going to drop in to here. Adds a little bit of extra support to the building. I don't particularly use them in games, but it's useful to have. I know some people like to have the granular detail of moving in and out and up and down floors, etc. So I'll stick these in. So we'll just use shaky cam for a sec, and as you can see in there, the roof or the floor supports are in place, which is brilliant. And then we've just got this floor section here and two upper partitions to separate and two rooms. So I'll glue them and drop them into place. So there we are. There's our upper floor on, and that just simply lifts in and out as required. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the roof sections together. So we shall move our main model away to one side and then get all these various roof sections out. And basically the way that it works is that you glue this MDF piece into each one of the larger areas, and that gives you like a key that locks into the walls to stop the roofs moving around. You can glue the walls into place, the roofs into place, so you can leave them loose if you like to move figures out in and out of buildings. And then for the main roof there, you've got these central supports that you glue into these two flat pieces to give you an angled roof. So I'll put all those together. So with all the roof sections glued together, it's now time to put the pan tile on, and these Empire at War kits come with these lovely plastic pan tile sections, and overlapping is down, and you can normally tell the front and rear. The rear are flatter. These are rounded, so simply a case of gluing them on to there. And for the larger parts of the roof, they provide this sort of central spur that sits down the middle, so that you don't have to worry too much about that join in your wood. And for the plastic bits, I am going to use super glue to stick them to the wood. Just with it being different surfaces, the wood glue's not going to work on this stuff. So I should be back in a sec when I've glued all this down. So there we have all the roof sections done, all glued on with the little key for it to stay in place on the building. So we'll just move those to one side for a second, and they're all dry because they're all done with super glue. And we'll just bring the main building back into view. There we go. So there's very nearly done now. There's just a tiny bit of detail. There's this little archway detail here that I need to glue on to the front of the archway in the building. So we shall do that live. Sticking a bit of glue on. It's a bit like being back at primary school, really, isn't it? Messy play and all that. Right. So that kind of sits there, just to give a bit of relief detail inside the building. And that merely leaves the final little bit of detail, which is to add all these doors. So frame doors on the front, and frame and doors in there, and frame and doors inside the building as well. So I'll crack on with that, and then we're finished. So here is more or less the finished model. Still see bits of glue still waiting to clear. It dries clear, so it's no problems. We've got the doors on the front there. We've got the internal doors on, doors at the back, doors inside. So there we go. That is the completed model. So all we need to do now is to drop our roof sections on. Fits quite nicely on top there, and then we've got this section here. Fits there, and then the two side sections as well. So I'll do some nice shots of this with a sky background and some figures when it is when it's all dry and all the bits of glue have disappeared. But there we go. That's how you build a 28mm Roman townhouse from Empires at War. Really simple. So here we go. Here is the finished model, and apart from the roofs, everything is as purchased. So it's literally, as we've seen during the course of this, out of the sprues, build, done. Now the roof tiles, I'll just take the top one off. If we just have a look at this, all I've done with this, in addition to how the model comes as the plastic strip, I've given it a wash of very light oil paint. I've used Van Dyke Brown mixed with a load of turpentine to form a wash. Stuck that on, left it to dry, give it a dry brush with a light sand, and then sprayed it with a matte varnish. And I think that irregular look that it gives works really, really well with this particular building. And we'll just do a twirl, Anthea. Could do a little bit more on this, but I'm very short on time before the game I need to use it for, so I may well come back to it in the future. I've got quite a lot of these buildings that are very similar, so I've started to do a little bit of rain streaking, so I'll probably do that and tidy up the corners a little bit. So there is the other side. So this is Roman Townhouse B, I think it is, and £35 from Empires at Arms, which I think is fantastic value. As you've seen during this, it comes pre-painted, and if you want to, like me, do very, very little to it to turn it into an absolutely superb model for the tabletop. This is going to be my convent in the Battle of Mentana, and looking forward to getting it on the table. I think this is a great bit of kit. Highly recommended. Empires at War. Great, absolutely superb. Until next time, Sithee.